My name is Hannah Jones and I play for Wales.
It's day one of the 2022 TikTok Women's Six Nations Championship. Hannah Jones seals this victory for Wales.
My dad was out in the local restaurant and he could overhear these men saying, "Oh, have you seen that girl play for Crynant? She's brilliant, she's running around the boys." My dad overheard that it was Hannah Jones, so he came back and he found out that I was playing rugby. He was a bit scared about it being a bit too rough for me, but then he realised he'd come down to watch me one weekend and I was the rough one. I started playing rugby as a child in primary school. Absolutely loved the game, so my mother took me to the local rugby team. And back then my father didn't really want me to play, so she was secretly getting me to go training, and I absolutely loved it. Figured out I was actually okay at playing, so we told my dad, and ever since now they've both been my number one fans. Got a very good support system, so my circle is very small, it's my family and in our Canada game and our last game of the autumns, I actually texted him that morning to say, stay behind for a picture, because he hadn't been able to stay because he'd been playing himself at Llandovery. I could see his twin, I was like, "Oh, where's Dino?" And he's sending me the other side, so I'm going back to my parents, and my parents knew what was happening, he knew what was happening, and they just kept sending me back and forth. So I was getting really annoyed at this point. So I was doing my interview, it was a fake setup one from Liz, and then I had a tap on my shoulder, and I turned around to say, "What are you doing on the pitch?" I was absolutely shocked. Obviously happy now, but at the time, pure shock. I didn't know it was coming. So when we arrive at training, so we train at the Vale in Cardiff, we weigh in, so it's like a monitoring, like how you slept, how you're feeling, how sore are you. They also ask if you're on your periods, because then that can tailor training for us. So we've got an hour of skills where we do our performance weeks, where we sit down, we write down, right, what's our focus of this week? What do I want to work on going in, say for example, for the last game, Italy. Because we're not all professional at the moment, we've got to wait for the evening girls to come in after work. So we start our rugby session about 7, 8 o'clock, and then we'll have an hour, 2 hours rugby down the field. For me, I'm very competitive, I like to win. Everything about rugby is a challenge, so I absolutely love the challenges we face. My main aim this year is World Cup, not just competing, trying to be one of the best players in the tournament. I like to picture going through moves. I often close my eyes on the bus and I think, what's my first action of going for the game? If we receive kick-off, what are we going to do? I'm looking at the opposition, their scrums, their line-outs, what type of moves they'll run within the 22 if we find ourselves on our lines. I look at my opposite centres, 12 and 13, and what the full-back does. Where there's a kicking opportunity for me as a centre, or something new I'm bringing into my game now. So I'm definitely working hard on that. My mentality is really not to give a reason to a coach not to pick me. Every element of recovery, strength, fitness, rugby, just try and keep pushing. I know I've got the time to do it. Like, I'm just loving it. Dream come true, this job is. Before becoming a professional, there was a lot more sacrifices. Career sacrifices, money sacrifices. Obviously wanting to be the best athlete you can be, I had to find a job that suited and worked around rugby. My main focus would always be rugby. Nothing would come in front of rugby. Obviously playing with your friends as well. I've met my 2 lifelong best friends from Italy, Alicia and Jazz, which will hopefully be my bridesmaids, so also the friendship side of it as well. For me, that jersey is never your own. So you never know when the last time you're going to put that shirt on is. Due to injury, due to selection, you just don't know. So it's a massive honour, massive privilege to have that jersey. I never want to lose. Always want to win. So for me, it's everything.